Hey everyone, this is Founders 365 with me, Stephen Haggerty. Today I am joined by Lewis Papa. He is the co-founder of Apex Mortgage and Protection. I feel like you need another word after that though, Lewis, like mortgage and protection solutions.
That's it.
It is solutions.
It's solutions, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Apex Mortgage and Protection Solutions. How are you today, Alex? Lewis?
I'm good, Stephen. I'm good.
Who's Alex? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, but
We'll never know. Alex, if you're out there,
I
please
think I'll
do
do
get in touch. We're very worried about you. Lewis, tell me, let's jump straight into it. Tell me all about how you got involved in creating Apex, which is obviously, we'll talk about the growth, but just to summarize, you're about to hire your 12th person, which is fantastic.
Yeah. So if we go back a few years now, I worked at Barclays as a mortgage specialist just under 4 years. Pardon?
I said, I bet that was thrilling.
It was a good job. I really enjoyed it. City centre of Leeds. I used to walk to work, and every day I used to walk past the Army Careers Office, and I was just like, well, I can get this job again. And I thought, midlife crisis at 26, let's join the army. So I joined the army, did 7 years. At that point, my brother was already looking at setting up a mortgage company because he'd done it before. And yeah, me and my best mate from the army, who's currently serving in the SAS, bought in, changed the name from a little town name to Apex Mortgage and Protection, and yeah, that's where we started. Since I became a director, we started off with I think 4 advisors. So we're growing all the time, and like I said, first week in March, we should have 12 advisors.
How and what's the period of time that's happened in? When did you join?
I would say September. So I really want to offer this out to service leavers and veterans as a good way of getting a different career from army. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you get a lot of people leaving the army and they go do CP or something that offer army employment. There's loads of things out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of solutions now.
Yeah, there is project management and stuff like that. So when I originally left the army, I didn't actually. It wasn't actually plain sailing, to be fair, because I left to be a private investigator.
We have to talk about the private investigation work.
Yeah. Okay, so let's.
So Lewis the PI.
Lewis the PI. So PI.
Nice. I like. Is that what you called the business?
I was going to call it that. I started doing a course online with this company, and I was doing it for a few months. I'd get people to follow, take pictures of, to do. It's
like the childhood dream.
It's so ironic when you hear the story that you're just like, how did this happen? So you're training to be a PI, and you did no due diligence on the company that is actually doing.
I can see where this is going.
Yeah. So basically, did all this stuff, sending it off to this guy. I can't remember his name now. It's been that long ago, and I'm over it since.
Yeah.
But yeah, it turned out to be a big scam. Yeah, never heard of him. Thinking I was going to leave to do this job, and 2 weeks before pulling a plug in the army, I had 2 kids under 2, a newborn. My wife was on paternity leave. I'm the main income earner, and I had 2 weeks to get a job. Luckily, I'd done my project management qualifications, and it was a bit of begging and trying to get people to feel sorry for me on all the platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn. And one of my friends from school, Alex Thornton, who owns Wincare, offered me a temporary role. And as I got there, after the second day, the guy that I was shadowing quit his job, and he goes, "There you go. You can do his job as a project manager."
Nice pay rise on day one. I like
exactly that. So it was. I was lucky. and I worked there for 2 years. Really enjoyed it. Traveling around the country, servicing and maintaining wind turbines. So
Oh, that's pretty interesting.
it was good. Made some good friends. Yes, it was good. And obviously, not many people get to climb a wind turbine.
I was literally about to say, how was it when you stood on top of a wind turbine?
Yeah, it was good. So the first time I ever climbed one, it was a 36-meter one, and you climbed on the outside, so it wasn't the climb inside one where you can. On the inside ones, you can climb the ladder and your back's on the wall.
And you're warm.
You're warm, yeah. And this was in Wick in Scotland, and the guy that went up first, the guy who's a regular wind turbine technician, was like, "Oh, just remember to use your legs," because obviously a lot of people
just climb with their arms. What?
Yeah, just climb with their arms, because obviously the nerves. But obviously, being ex-army, I just try and shot up there as quick as I can, and I got to the top, and I'd realised I must have done about 36 meters worth of pull-ups, and I got to the top, and you have to undo this latchway, which is obviously what connects to the wire. There's a safety precaution. I couldn't even undo it, but I pretended that I was just looking at the view, so I was just holding on with my arm that was obviously rock solid because I'd used my forearms all the way up, and it was a bit comical, but I think I got away with it.
Oh my god! So you've gone, you got scammed into a fake PI. You've climbed wind turbines, and now you're running a mortgage protection business and hiring your 12th employee.
That's it. Strange, isn't it? What happens?
Yeah, that journey in itself is pretty epic. I am now honestly just thinking, what would have happened if you would have become a PI?
I know that. I think that sometimes, well,
maybe you need to become a PI and find out what happened to this guy.
Maybe, yeah, but it's one of them where I could be doing this podcast in a bush, currently trying to catch someone's cheating wife or husband.
Oh my god! I didn't even think that PI thing really was a thing in the UK, but then it kind of makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, it does. It's like I say, I've never met one myself.
Well, you wouldn't know, or would you know if you did?
I don't know. You could be one. I wouldn't
maybe
know.
Maybe you did actually pass, and this is a whole big experiment that he's put you in.
Yeah. Maybe you'll come in my office one day and go, "Well done, thanks."
Put a black bag over your head, and you're done. It's a new life for you.
That is it.
That's good. How are you finding the mortgage world? Because there's a lot of businesses out there. How do you guys make sure that you're still being heard, you're still getting business, you're still growing?
Well, I think, obviously when I started with Barclays, it was massive, absolutely massive. And I remember sitting there, it was all over the phone, and you'd have 80 calls waiting at all times. Obviously applications for a mortgage over the phone was taking between an hour and 2 hours. So now, obviously, it's totally different being a broker, and we offer full market products. And I think 80% of the work is getting the clients, getting the leads, sparking that interest from people. So obviously, we've taken on Sean, that you've done a podcast with before. With his
good guy.
Yeah, good guy. I served with Sean at 29 Commando, so that's where we met. And yes, we're putting together social media stuff and like LinkedIn. It's a constant process where you've literally got to be proactive. Day in, day out, to get that business.
How do you think your role has changed then, from obviously, being in the armed forces, becoming a PI, sacking that off, to climbing a turbine, to now running a business and managing people? How have you dealt with that change in that sense?
So with I think it was a perfect journey for me, really. In the army, you get taught a lot of leadership qualities. Obviously, I think if anyone's thinking of joining the army, they should at least try it. I think it changed me as a person. A lot more relaxed. I wouldn't say I was fiery, but I was never one to back down from confrontation. Whereas now I'm a lot more relaxed. And then when I went to Windcare, working with the director there that I went to school with, obviously he did. I think he did something like business at university, and then set up a business and did really well. And I learned a lot from him, to be fair. And it was sad to leave, but when you're ambitious, and the term, you don't want to work for the man, you just need to take that risk. But yeah, I learned a lot of Windcare, a lot of business lessons, really, with striking up relationships and learning how to get contracts, introducers. It was a good journey. And yeah, having to deal with staff there. I think I had 6 people, 3 teams of wind turbine technicians, where I was conducting them around the UK, chasing breakdowns and services. So it was, it was good. And then I came in, and I hadn't been in the financial services for 10 years, so a lot has changed. Luckily, my brother is all over it, because he's a property developer, and he's never taken his head out of the game in the finance market.
How hard was that for you to re-educate yourself in terms of what's changed over those 10 years?
Well, I went, so I do protection, so I do life insurance, critical illness, income protection, and I threw myself on the deep end and said, look, if I'm going to be a director of this company, I'm going to start at the bottom and do what everyone else does. The network we're with is Primus, really good network, and they run a 4-day course for people that have never had any financial background before. So I signed myself up to a 4-day course, and I went and did it with all the up and coming protection advisors.
That
was really helpful. And then day 4, you do a role play where you're obviously pretending to be a customer for someone else. And I was actually doing it with an ex-professional footballer that I didn't know at the time. But
not super famous then.
No, he's not super. Well, I think he probably was in the football world.
To be honest, I have no idea with football, so I think unless it was someone like David Beckham, I think majority of footballers could be sat opposite me and I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, well, he looked exactly like Clark Kent.
Okay.
But when I did his role play, he was no Superman. Put it that way.
How many years have you been waiting to use that line?
I am full of dad jokes. So yeah, he was a good guy, and we had a good laugh, to be fair. And I haven't been in touch with him since. Maybe that's just triggered my memory just to.
Maybe he'll be your 13th hire.
That's it. No, I think he was working with another company that hire professional footballers, because you get a lot of companies out there that
good contacts.
Yeah, of course. And so that's how I retrain myself. And I've got a lot of good advisors. So obviously we as a business inherited a few advisors that were already there. They've got 15 to 20 years experience. So obviously, if I ever have a question or stuck with anything, and same with them now, because obviously I deal with a lot of protection for the military, and yeah, we just bounce ideas off each other, and that's how you get better. Is this constant learning and challenges out there.
How are you guys planning to evolve as a business over the next new decade, new things, all these things happening in the world?
Yeah, so it was actually last week we decided that let's get into another area. So obviously we're Yorkshire based at the moment. We chose Pocklington because me and my brother went to school in Pocklington, so I went to Pocklington School and we played rugby there. And we're looking at either going to Salisbury or Plymouth for our next premises, and trying to be like hit a garrison because of our backgrounds. And my best friend being, currently in special forces. There's not many companies out there that has a story like us.
Yeah.
And I think, as we're trying to create jobs for veterans and service leavers, I think we've got 3 veterans working for us. One ex-Royal Marine and one just coming on who's Army Air Corps, myself. And we're just trying to be different. And
like that story you just said in terms of hiring veterans and helping them. How do you guys shout about that? How do you let other people know that's what you're doing?
We've got an Instagram account, Facebook. Obviously, we've got a lot of people that we still know and talk to on a regular basis from the military, and we also got another Instagram account on called Battlefield to Boardroom, and basically that is now we're looking at making that as the platform to help other veteran-owned businesses get out there, and a little shout out for them free of charge. It's got a lot of followers. I think 37,000 followers.
Nice.
On Instagram, and we're looking at just helping people who have taken that risk to set up a business, because it isn't easy.
No.
And I think if I could let anyone know, you just got to keep going. You're not gonna turn up on week 1 and earn £10,000 a week.
If only.
Yeah.
If only that was the way to do it. Could you imagine what the world would be like if to earn £10,000 a week you just had to like register a company's house, and that was it. That was automated.
Yeah, it'd be a strange world. But yeah, it was. Yeah, it'd be interesting. But it's I have days where I just think, God, how are we gonna be different? We're gonna get our name out there, and and then some days you think, oh, this is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get ups and downs in business. And
how do you, on those down days, how do you motivate yourself? How do you still motivate yourself to want to grow the business, want to move it forward, and all those things?
So obviously we're always wanting to grow. We want to get to. We've made a 1, 5, and 10-year plan, but obviously the 5 and 10-year plans are going to change. But we're looking at getting 30 advisors on, whether they're civilian or military. But if on those down days, my mate who's in the special forces, he gives me a kick up the backside, and he is, he's one of those guys that, he's reached the top, the pinnacle of, the military career. And, it's one of them. There's 3 of us involved, me and my brother. Obviously we're very close, we've both got 2 kids each, see each other all the time, speak constantly throughout the day. Same with my mate. And he, it's, if you have a down day, you just ring them up and you get no sympathy, and you just got to get on with it. So it doesn't happen.
That's the trick. No sympathy, kick up the arse, get on with it.
That's it. But that's life, isn't it? And it's not very often we get that, but it's, you just got to keep going, haven't you?
Yeah, for sure. Otherwise you wouldn't be getting, you wouldn't be having your 12th hire, you wouldn't be looking at for new premises, all these other options. It's really good what you guys are doing. Here's always a good question. If you could do anything differently that you've done in the last 12 months, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Last 12 months, what would I do differently? I would I would never rush into some of the decisions I've made. I wouldn't have put as much trust in some people that have let us down and previously as well, because we've got another business venture going on in the background as well. That's just about to kick off, but yeah, we invested a bit of money in that, and at the final hurdle, after winning a contract, the person that was obviously helping us out, he just said, no, I'm not doing it, even though we spent, you know, a few £1,000 getting that person trained up. But yeah, you know, that's business. And again, it was actually this week I actually saw the guy Alex that I worked for at Wincare, and we had a little chat, and he was asking me how the business was going, because, you know, he's a very entrepreneurial guy, and he was like, oh, you know, how's everything going? And I mentioned something like that, and he said, you know, it's going to happen a lot, and don't dwell on it, just crack on, because you know, it's happened so many times to me. Now it's like I don't even think about it. I just go, right, that's happened, and carry on, because if you're going to dwell on it, it's going to eat.
What does dwelling on it achieve? You know,
exactly that. Yeah, it's good that I've got some good mentors that I can turn to, that have been very successful, and yeah, that's it. I wouldn't, you know, it's trust, not rushing into things. That's probably, you know, the things that I probably would change over the last 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tricky question though, because it's, you know, you only get here because of the decisions you made. So if you change any of those decisions, would you change where you are now? Which is interesting. You know, coming from your background and what you're doing now, do you think sort of leadership has to be taught, or do you think there's people that are naturally born leaders? You know, that you always hear that saying, I'm a natural born leader. Normally on like The Apprentice, and you normally think, God, what a twat.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know I don't think everyone's a natural born leader, if in my opinion. And, you know, going back to the army, you know, I think, you know, I don't want to slate officers or anything like that. And, you know, I worked under some brilliant officers, but, you know, if you go to university and apply to go to Sandhurst, you know, you're going to get taught how to be a leader, and you're going to, you know, have the principles to do it. But, you know, there were some better than others. And I think that's the same in the civilian world. It's hard to be a natural born leader, whereas my leadership styles, I'm very relaxed, and I'm very, you know, if I ask someone to do something, I expect it to be done. And I don't want to be the guy that does the micromanaging, because again, I've been in that situation where I've been micromanaged, and I used to hate it.
Who likes it? I don't think anyone likes being micromanaged.
Yeah, but I think some people need it. So it is, you know, it's a strange one, but yeah, I think some people are natural born leaders, and I think some people can learn it over time. But yeah, it's all trial and error, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the key thing about anything you do. It's about having the guts to test and know when things are working or know when things are not working. Because if you don't do that, then you're always standing still and you're never really moving forward. In my humble opinion, anyway. You know, for you or for Apex, should I say, why is it important for you guys to have those values of hiring people that were, you know, similar backgrounds to yourselves, and getting them trained up and giving them that alternative career option when they leave the army or any other service?
Yeah, I think, you know, we want fire within the company. We want hunger, you know, people that just want to achieve. And I think, you know, the advisors that we've got now that are civilians are absolutely brilliant. I would never take, and, you know, I'd never slate them at all. But I think within the military, I think the ingrained work ethic within you, you can do absolutely brilliantly on the outside. And you know, we bang on all the time, me and my business partner who's still in the army, that, you know, I've heard people in the army say, oh, you know, the best thing in life that you can wish for is a military pension. And I'm just like, whoa, this is, you know, have you actually listened to what you've actually said? And
Yeah.
you know, I've been told off before for refusing to do an MVQ in telecommunications, and I was just like, well, I'm never going to use it, so why would I waste my time doing it? And I think there's a, you know, I think you can do really well on the outside, and I think, you know, there's some fantastic people within the army that can do very well on the outside. And you know, if they ever want to work for me, and you know, I've got that hunger, drive, willingness to learn, that hunger to do well, I think you can do very well in this industry.
Yeah, and if you're giving them that framework to do that, and
100%.
to, you know, grow and develop their own skills, I think that's such a unique place as well. I think if you, as you grow, it's going to become even more unique in terms of how the team dynamics work. So there's probably not very many businesses out there that sort of has that focus.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, again, it's, you know, people sometimes struggle on the outside, and I think it's because they don't belong to anything. Whereas within the business, we want to build that culture where it's teamwork, everyone's working towards a goal, striving for excellence, you know, being the best advisor that you can be. I'm not saying everyone's going to be a 10 out of 10 advisor, but you know, as long as you do the best for that customer and getting the best cover or the best mortgage product, I think, you know, you can do really well. And you know, we will nurture and give them the environment to trade, and you know, if they've got the willingness to learn, they can absolutely smash it.
Yeah, I think that's the trait in anyone. It's about the willingness to learn and the willingness to evolve, no matter what level you're at. You know, the fact that you went into the business and started at the bottom per se shows the sort of person you are, which is credit to you. Lewis, listen, my final question, and one to really put you on the spot, because I know you love that, is if you could give 3 tips to any fellow founders or someone sort of doing the same thing you're doing, what would those 3 tips be?
Never give up. Number one, you know, there's going to be hard times. It's not going to be easy at the start. You know, we started in October. You know, we're 5 months in. You know, it's not going to be easy. You just got to keep going, keep networking. Second, let me think.
The first one was easy, straight away.
Yeah, never give up.
Now, never give up on these 3 things. Come on, Lewis.
Yeah, set goals. Set goals. You know, we set goals and we hit some of them very early, but the other ones are seeming harder to get to. But that's what we drive for every day. So yeah, set goals would be my second one, and number 3, do something you enjoy doing. I think they're my 3.
Yeah.
And I think if you enjoy it, you know, you're passionate about it, you know, people are going to buy into that within your business. And I think,
100%.
yeah, I think that's where we want to be as a business.
Perfect.
Doing the best we can.
Brilliant. Lewis, listen, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, learn more about Apex, what's the best way for them to do that?
You can either go on the website, www.apexmp.co.uk.
I'm glad you haven't made it apexmortgageandprotection.com.
That'd be too long. Or go on our Instagram page, send us a DM, or just call the office, which is 0333 22 00 270.
Oh, you put really on the spot. Good man. Yeah. Lewis, thank you so much for being on the show. Really enjoyed this conversation. Really looking forward to seeing how you guys evolve over in Apex. And thank you for your time. Everyone listening and watching, thanks for watching. This has been Founders 365 with me, Stephen Haggerty, joined by Lewis Papa.